Hi guys, welcome to today's video. In today's video, we will look into a scenario in which the top 5 strongest nations of the world go to war with the world. And how will this go? Let's start in where this video is going to start, which is after India makes a naval invasion of Sri Lanka. How's this going to end? Well, not well for Sri Lanka, with Sri Lanka being the first battleground as Sri Lanka falls. And, well, let's see, where's Russia start their battleground? And a big wide front as they march into Ukraine. As they march into Crimea. And why are they marching into Crimea? Because let's assume we're back to pre-2014. Fine, we're not. We're in the true time, but I like to kick Russia out first. So we don't have to worry about their weaknesses. And they move into Abkhazia. And in the South Ossetia. As they march towards the Georgian border. And they are ready for an invasion of Belarus. With Poland trying to hold Russia back in Belarus. But unfortunately, Russia somehow got really strong. And nobody knows how. As they move into Latvia, as they widen out their front from Kaliningrad. And yeah, they march as a different color. This isn't working well. But yeah. As they march in, they take out the Benelux region. And, well, they have more fronts they're going to focus on, with China starting its first front. And, well, they start one front, which is in Taiwan. And, along with a small number of Russian forces, they start a big advance in the North Korea, which takes Pyeongchang. And they move into South Korea. And what's going to happen to the UK? Well, it doesn't go so well for the UK. As well, they're surrounded by powerful nations. And isolated. As well, the first invasion of one of these nations begins, which is the UK. But, thankfully, American forces somehow get over here now. How do they get over? Well, nope, they don't get over in time. As they march into Canada. As America has one goal, making a corridor to Alaska, which they begin work on. This corridor is really good as it takes 2 cities from Canada that are important. And well, yeah. In this scenario, we're not going to have a Canada that likes to fight. That's just entertaining. And well, that happens with the American invasion of Mexico beginning. As they quickly move into Baja California and Sonora. They have effectively marched through and are really far in, with them having to focus some attention onto the Caribbean, with them moving right through Cuba and making it so Puerto Rico is safe. And they move into the Bahamas and down the Caribbean. And let's see how they're they start getting mobilized better. And they somehow get to Armenia and Azerbaijan, which they use to get into Iran. Well, many things are about to happen. As the collapse of the UK is imminent. As Scotland starts falling. But the good news is, they just need to wait till America gets there. So they just send all their forces and all of their weaponry to America. With the invasion of Finland beginning. With Finland not losing to Russia, but China, really. And the US somehow has some forces here. And we're not going by how this would actually go, but how I want it. How it should go for this video. Luckily, it's just the top 5 strongest nations, so it's not like it's the top 10. With Mongolia's capital being taken their capital of Ulaanbaatar falls as they meet up with Russia. And Mongolia pretty much falls. And the invasion of Bangladesh begins. And this is months into this war. Probably. Let's say this is the first month of the war, which it could be very well based on the fronts. With India marching into Pakistan trying to take Islamabad, which they actually succeed in doing. And this leads to the fall of Pakistan. And well, America's working on the New World, which they started landing here, and then they go to the Panama Canal, split it, north of the Darien Gap, which they use to their advantage to get further through. And well, yeah. Well, this falls. And let's see what it looks like where Mexico City falls. As they are moving around the mountains. And well, they move into Central America and they take it out. Central America has fallen. And Mexico has fallen. With all of Canada's major cities about to fall. With the next step being all of Canada's major cities falling, which I have just said. And then they move into Newfoundland to establish a way to get to the rest of the world. And well, Canada is forced into capitulation. I will color in those islands soon, guys. With Greenland being attacked by the United States as they're trying to take out northern North America. And well, yeah. Once they take the capital of Greenland, Greenland has nobody left, basically. Because nobody lives in most of Greenland. There's like 50,000. I'd say they all live in that area, I think, for some reason. But I'm not 100%. With this falling, which is a major news, as it means North America has officially fallen to this team. The first continent to fall has just fallen. And well, and why is Russia actually doing good? Because, well, this scenario is based on world power, not anything else. As America has the biggest military spending budget, which is more than the rest of the world, so it might be good for America. I don't know how sustainable this war is. It doesn't look like much counteroffensives are happening, with them moving into Central Asia, which could also be the world region, with Chinese and Indian forces using a lot of their forces to march in. And well, yeah. With Kazakhstan's capital being taken of Astana. With this happening, Kazakhstan's desert just falls. With it being a surprise as Russia moves this far down. But this is where the Iranian and Turkish counteroffensives come, which tries to push them back, and they continue into Central Asia, which gets them to a certain point, which is about... And that's as they push them back into Kazakhstan, and they retake Uzbekistan and southern Azerbaijan, but then they're a bit tired. With Europe starting to move all of its might to the Russian front. Why would they do this? It's a strategy. With them marching back and taking much of the lands. And they encircle Kaliningrad and seize Kaliningrad. With Finland's offensive happening. With it not looking too good. The world will probably come to a peace treaty at some point, I would say. And Ukraine starts an offensive, which takes them to the Dnipro River. And well, they march into Belarus to that river. Yep, and this is where the front line ends up to. But they forgot one thing. But America isn't ready to invade South America, so South America makes a huge advance, but they get stopped in the Darien Gap. Why would they get stuck there? Because it makes sense. With the invasion of Venezuela beginning. And well, this is not really great. With them landing in Colombia, eventually this gap is theirs. And they march in to Colombia, which is really great that they're marching into Colombia and Venezuela. And Brazil is ready to try and make a counteroffensive. With the world in a horrible spot. But this is probably not going to be a good war for the red team. But then again, it's not like the world powers are divided like they normally would be. And well, they move into Laos and Vietnam, but they can't advance into Vietnam for some reason. I don't know why. And then they move into Thailand. As they take Thailand out, as Thailand kind of falls, leading to an invasion of Cambodia. With them being able to hold off the Iran from getting to their borders, now they start an offensive. With an offensive in the Caucasus being started by Russia, which retakes Azerbaijan and a lot of Azeri territory in Iran and marches into Turkey. And they make it into Iraq, guys. With America seeing they're having so much success, they move into Europe with their European offensive as they march into Iceland. And well, they make a landing in Ireland, which is a full success, as their advance onto the United Kingdom begins, guys. As they take Northern Ireland and advance into Scotland. The UK isn't well defended by Europe, for some reason. With an invasion of Normandy taking place by the US. And now Britain's established, with Russia starting an offensive into Belarus. And this is kinda as far as they can get. But with them headed towards the capital of Iran to try and neutralize Iran's threat, well, Saudi Arabia starts moving its forces into the Turkish front. And with it, they manage to hold a stalemate alongside the mountains. With Russian forces moving through Turkmenistan and down towards Tehran, along with other forces meeting up, they take Tehran. As they move towards Afghanistan, their goal here is to try and establish this front well. Which they move far enough to establish this front, as Uzbekistan is unable to hold it, and well, as Kabul falls. And Afghanistan falls. And then so does the rest of Central Asia. All falls. All the stand nations fall. As they establish themselves into Iran. And this is kind of going well, because many nations rely on the US. With them moving into Ecuador. And they march into Ecuador. And well, yeah, they cross into Peru. But Brazil manages to hold an defensive along their northern border. But they have 3 defensives set up. And they get pushed. And the War of Japan, the Sino-Japanese War breaks out. The Third Sino-Japanese War breaks out. And a Russo-Japanese War breaks out again. So yeah. Japan's in trouble, as well American forces finally arrive and knock them completely out of the war, with American forces landing in the Philippines, in the southern Philippines, while China lands. But nobody can take out Vietnam. And well, they take out the Philippines, and they continue their march into Malaysia. China does, until they meet Indonesia. And Indonesia had a plan figured out for the case their Malaysia falls. And well, it goes well. With, well, China's hold on this region being kicked back to here. And finally they get kicked back further, but Brazil is forced back to its next defensive line, which is the Amazon, and a lot of a bit further back. This is where they get pushed back to. And well, it's a big distance for them to get pushed back. But America manages to do it. To approximately that line, this spot. And well, America forces come to liberate France again. Except they're not actually liberating France this time. Yep, they're just attacking France. With American forces landing in Portugal and Spain. And well, they force everything back. As they force most of Spain to fall. And well, with two fronts, everyone is panicking. With Russia and America coming for Europe. But can all the world fall? I don't think so. But can Europe? Well, no. Probably not. But America pushes Brazil back to its third defensive line. And, well, this was a surprise. They could move through the jungles. But it just so happens most of the Amazon comes back to them. But is this going to really be worth it? As, well, America's plan now is to land closer to Brasilia. Why would they do this? Because they know this is a better idea. With them actually attempting this, and it actually goes well. As they move in and take Brasilia, and then they move to Rio, and they take Rio. As well, Brazil is forced to surrender, but Argentina manages to hold up too here. As they move all their forces out, they set up a defensive line along here. With it not going so well, as Argentina wasn't really prepared. As Argentina's capital falls, and then they take Chile's capital. As Argentina surrenders. And Britain finally comes and swoops the Falkland Islands, and, well, Patagonia falls. With this meaning America can shift attention to the east. With a huge amount of attention going to the Mediterranean Sea. As Algeria falls, Tunisia falls, and well, Italy starts falling as they march up, and Russia starts their offensive further into Europe. But it appears this might be the end of the front line. With them completely taking out Spain. Africa is mostly left alone as everybody's starting to get tired of this war. Poland starts its last-ditch attempt to hold the Russians back, which actually succeeds as they take back Riga. Well, the problem is, America decides to land into Norway and move down to take Oslo, which they actually succeed in taking Oslo, as some countries are actually welcoming them. As British forces launch an invasion here. But the British forces are heavily reliant here on the Americans. With Germany fully mobilizing, but as their morale steadily drops. As Greece gets landed by the Americans, and the Americans start doing what Americans do. With all of Benelux falling, and then the Rhineland falls. So yeah, this is just great. This is just great for Europe. As a big advance is made and the Americans take out Stockholm. With nothing in these lands, well, the world is left vacant in these lands. And they get pushed. As Switzerland sees they can keep their neutral as they want to stay neutral.
But they can't.
As well, this kind of happens. And yeah. This kind of happens. As this is bad. As Switzerland keeps them completely out. They can't enter Switzerland, but they can't exit Switzerland. And so, yeah. So, they just avoid Switzerland. With Russia ready to start another attempt, which is the invasion of Turkey. With Saudi Arabian forces holding a huge defensive, but now they decide to cut it to there because they can't hold it back. And well, Germany has lost half its territory, guys. And well, as Poland's invaded by America. As Russia takes this advantage to push Poland all the way back. And Russia's advances into Europe are a complete success. As the race to Warsaw begins, as the West almost reaches there, but the Russians take it. And yeah, as the Balkans are nothing left to them, with the world being tired of fighting and ready for peace, they all meet in Washington over the fate of the world. The Treaty of Washington has been signed, with Britain and America saying close allies, right? America annexes all of North and South America, along with Iceland, while they make puppet states out of Europe, and Britain gets a bit of land out of Europe. Britain and America become allies, and well, no, two more things are about to happen. Yep, Poland, Czechia, and the Kalmar Union is reformed. So hopefully this was an entertaining video so far. So now let's go to this treaty's part 2. And that includes just what Russia gets from Central Asia. And well, Iran is partitioned basically, with a small part of the land still being occupied will be gave to Iran. Been left to discuss the rest of this treaty, with these being the neutral nations. Russia, as we can see, expanded far into Europe, halfway through Poland, halfway into Romania, partway into Slovakia. Then they made puppets out of what was left, including South Yugoslavia, Albania, Bulgaria, Romania, Hungary and Slovakia, and Iran, while the West has Norway, Sweden, has the Kalmar Union, Germany, Poland, North Yugoslavia, Greece, Italy, France, Spain, Portugal, and then, as we know, the U.S. annexed all of North America. And guys, see here? Russia annexed far into Central Asia, but not as far as they want. And Iran's their puppet. So now let's look at India and China's part of the treaty, which is part 3 of the Washington in basically a few places. Independent, America and Britain, Russia, India, and China. And in case this ever happens again, a war happens, well, it won't. Why? How do I know it won't? Because, well, I don't think this is even a possible scenario for this kind of war, because it wouldn't be this easy. And I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, I will see 10 likes. And if I get no likes, well, tell me what you want to see. So yeah, guys, have a nice day. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Check out my videos from the past, as they are great, and many more. Please like and subscribe. We're trying to get to 375 subscribers by May 1st. So please subscribe. We're at 222. That's about 153 away. Yep, guys, that's 153 subscribers left to go. So subscribe, as we should get there. And 250, at 250 subscribers, we'll have a special. I don't know what it'll be yet, but I know we'll have one. And I hope you're enjoying yourself, as it's a great day. So please like and subscribe. Have a great day. Please like, subscribe, comment. Wild Mapper out.